Well, it presents some major challenges to traditional training and learning and development approaches, because those approaches really are focused on content, on transfer of content. So that if one went to a training course 10 years ago, what would happen would be you would be provided with a whole pile of content, given the context around that content. You might, if you were lucky, be given some exercises to try and put that content into action, practice with that content, and then you go away with the or before you went away, you were usually given an assessment to see whether you had retained that content, and then you were sent back to your workplace to put that into practice. With the world as it is, with this ocean of information and this tsunami of new data and new information which is hitting us every day, that model really doesn't work. And it doesn't work for a number of reasons. One is that the original ideas, or the ideas that were used in the past, which were based around people retaining knowledge by giving them an assessment at the end of a course or the end of a class, really doesn't cut the mustard, because in fact, if you pull people back 3 months later and give them the same assessment, the results you'll get will be very, very different. And again, there's a lot of research that's shown that the retention rates are extremely low unless people have the opportunity to put into practice immediately. So that model of that content-rich and interaction-poor, generally, learning environment really isn't appropriate for a world where there's a huge amount of information that we're dealing with. What we need to do is think about how we help people develop core skills in formal learning environments. So they're critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, what I call mind-find skills, in other words, effective strategies in order to find and make sense of information. Then there's some analytical skills that we need, and communication skills and networking skills and various other skills which underpin being able to manage this huge inflow of information. So that makes a big change for L&D, because it means that rather than going into a 5-day course and being presented with masses and masses of information with the expectation that you can use it, it means that we have to look at it differently and think about how we can develop the formal and utilize that formal learning component to give people a set of core skills in order that they can go away and make sense of that ocean of information when and where they need it. And in order to make sense of it, they have to be able to find it, and they have to have some core understanding and some core skills about sifting and filtering it, because in fact one hears people say that the problem that we have today is not too much information, it's too poor filters. We don't have good enough filters of information. So it has a profound impact on the way that learning and development needs to get done.